Okay, so in today's video, pretty much going to finish off closing in all the port side of the hull. So this is where we left it after the last video. So all we need to do is really close this in at the top, and then finish off with some steel planks. So in the kit, you're supplied with 6 strips, and these strips are 3x2. And then, hopefully, by the time we've got up to this top, we should have a full plank, and then this little strip. So I'm about 1/2 mm off, so not too bad with that. So all we need to do is just make sure the first one just slightly overhangs the bow. You can pretty much be positioned anywhere you want, but I'm going to kind of position it where it's in the middle of the rib with one of them 45-degree angles. I'm just going to paint on some glue. It's got a little strip of wood. I'm going to lay it on the deck, and I know that that top strip will be flush. And I'm going to go just slightly down the middle of that rib, and I'm just going to pin it. Just like to use a little tool just to pre-pin it first, makes it a lot easier. And then just keep moving it along and pinning it until we get all the way to the bow. So once you've got the first strip in, all you then have to do is just repeat the process with the next one, and then the third one, until you get all the way to the stern. Okay, so I started the next strip all the way to the stern. I just need just a little bit chopping off a little bit later on when we bring this this casting involved. So all we need to do now is just fill in this section in between. So like I've done before, all you really do is just measure between the two 45-degree angles, cut that to length, and then this can just be slipped in. And the good thing about that we cut them at a 45-degree angle, it's pretty much already holding that kind of in place. All we need to do, like we did before, just pin that and tack it. Let's say if you just use that piece of wood between the two joints, push them up nice and flush, and then we can just pin them together. Okay, so once we've got the top trim in place, all we need to do then is just put this next full plank in. So all we do is pretty much in line with the join from the plank below that. I'm just going to glue it and tack it into place all the way to the bow. Okay, so after we've put in this last full planking, we've now really got to turn his attention to these like steel planks. So steel plank's not too bad, coming up to about there is quite a plank, but then this bit from there on to midships is a little bit of a gap. It's a bit up and down. So what I will do is I will cut myself a strip But if you're new to model ship building and you kind of want it, quite a tricky cut to kind of put them in on your first one. So what you can get is what we call like lamination, and these are thin strips of it's actually the offcuts and the decking that I did for that. So what you can do with these, you can actually get the little strips, and these are 0.3 mil thick. And what you can do is you can kind of glue them on top of each other and then fill in the gaps that way. And you just put as many strips in as you need on top of each other to kind of fill in the gap. Like I said, this is for beginner model ship builders. It's experienced model ship builders won't do it this way, but I just thought it's a nice little easy solution for people that's maybe going to try this for the first time. And all we do, like I say, just keep gluing little strips on top of each other until we fill in that gap. And then once they're all glued in place and you've let them to dry, all we're done, once they've dried, it becomes like a full plank. So then all we have to do then is just sand them back, or you can take your really sharp chisel and you can just trim it straight off. That's just a little trick for people that's new to model ship building. Okay, so once you've closed in that gap between that plank, we'll just fit in last. Now we can pretty much fit in this steel plank. So it's pretty much a complete plank, and I'm just going to put in a little shiver right at the end. So what I'm going to do is just take an off cut, one that's big enough that's actually going to fill the gap. I'm just going to push it in until it catches. Really we'd have to force it in, which is about there. So what I'm going to do then is just make a little mark on the timber above it, and now I'm going to take that piece across to the pretty much where it butts up with them bits we fitted before. I'm just going to transfer that mark onto the plank. So what I have to do then is just measure this gap. It's coming in just under 3 mil. So right at the end of this plank, we're going to take it 2 mil, and then the thickness of the pencil, I'll take it to 3. So now I'm just going to put my ruler onto this piece of wood and cut it. So what I'm going to do is going to put a couple of pieces of scrap just either side. All I'll do is just support the ruler while I'm making this cut. And all I'm going to do is just join up these two lines. And then usually I take my really sharp craft knife, but I've run out of blades, so all I'm going to do is just use this one. And then so we're going to score between the two lines. And just keep repeating it until you get all the way through. Okay, so what I'm going to do, same again, bring it across with sandpaper and just put in a little chamfer. So that part that you cut off, just save that, because it's surprising how many little gaps them offcuts will fill in. Now we'll do, push it back in, and then hopefully it'll find its way in. A little bit tight there. Now that piece that I said we'll save, will probably fill in that little gap just slightly above it, which it will. So all we need to do now is just glue and pin that in place, and that's that gap filled in. put one pin there. Okay, so after fitting them 2 planks, we've just got to cut them off when they're dry, so they're flush for them. So all we've really got left to do now is just fill in all these gaps, these little steel planks on the bow and the ones on the stern. I've already done the starboard side, so that's all done. So I'm just going to go and do them now, pretty much doing the same procedure as I just did with that one, and then we'll come back.